Our first horseshoe begins in the village of Hartsop. We work our way up Hartsop Dodd, which is quite a climb for the day, and then continue on, and we find ourselves on a flatter section as we approach Cordale Moor, with great views down to Windermere. Once completed, we work our way down and then up again, then head along Grey Crag. This has fantastic views of the surrounding fells. Once we reach the Wainwright summit at the end, we head back down, we find the beck at the bottom, and then work our way to the car park. We'll take the track up Hartsop Dodd. From there, we'll ascend to its pinnacle, walk to the end of the valley, and descend to pick up the road. We follow the track by the wall, which is relatively stable, and soon the views start to grow. Once we get to the resting point, we can look out to Brothers Water and down into the valley, with Ullswater in the distance. Continuing our ascent, this is now much more gentle, and we work our way up the fell side on this easy path. The view back to Angletown Pikes is magnificent. As we continue up, the ascent starts to round off, and the summit cairn comes in sight. This is our first Wainwright of the day, and offers magnificent views over the surrounding areas. We continue on to our second Wainwright of the day, Cordale Moor. Again, it's a grassy slope heading up, and this is a gentle run for us after our steep ascent. Eventually, we start to round off, but we trace the wall all the way up the fell side. The summit is here, to our left, but we continue on straight, because when we reach the end of the fell, we get magnificent views down to Windermere. Turning back on ourselves, we find the summit cairn, and it's a short walk to claim our second Wainwright of the day, Stony Cove Pike, also known as Cordale Moor. It's worth saying this is a very quiet walk, and we didn't see many people during the day apart from the group that were on Cordale Moor. From here, we'll work our way across the fell. We have a descent and an ascent to do, and then we find ourselves on our third Wainwright of the day, Grey Crag. This descent is the most technical section and just requires some caution. If you have trekking poles, I would advise these. It's around 100 metres down and 100 metres up before it starts to round off. However, the views out are absolutely spectacular on both sides, both to Ullswater, and then on the other side we can see Troutbeck Tongue. This section is a little slippy underfoot, so be cautious if coming up here. The ascent, although rugged, gives us fantastic views all the way out, and it's unsurprising these fells are Wainwrights. They're amongst some of the most stunning, yet rarely visited summits in the Lake District. Soon we come across the summit beacon of Grey Crag. It's very difficult to miss at a height of 14 feet, and it dominates the landscape. If you're ever unsure where you are on these fells, this is a really good reference point. Later on in the video, I'll also show you Grey Crag as part of the Kentmere Horseshoe, which we're looking at here. That's another fantastic horseshoe in the area and not to be missed. Just at the side here, you've got the Fell of High Street. We work our way along Grey Crag, which has a really gentle gradient on the top. This is a nice, easy fell walk with amazing views on both sides. This can be added onto the Kentmere Horseshoe, but it's a real grind having to go out and all the way back again. I've done it before, and this is a much more natural route to pick this one up. Towards the end of the fell is the Wainwright summit. The true summit, however, is a little further back. You can see here it's a little higher than the Wainwright summit. However, the Wainwright end has an excellent view over towards Ullswater. We head on, and from this point we start a gentle down as we work our way off the fell and back to the car. The drop down's in sections, so we complete our first section and then it flattens out before descending once again. This was a summer's day and it was really dry underfoot, which was fantastic. Haze water is at the side and it's an artificial lake that's been created, although it fits perfectly into the landscape. We continue our descent, and again it matches the ascent we did on the way up when we came up Hartsop Dodd. It's steep in places as we go down, but offers fantastic views. We work our way back to the road and then cross over the stream. Hazewater gills at the side. There's a small iron bridge we can take as a crossing. This will take us onto a steady path which will then run us down to the car park. This is a fantastic walk, and as mentioned, it's really quiet, so if you're looking for a peaceful day in the lakes, this is absolutely fantastic. We work our way to the car park, then it's a short drive to the Queen's Hotel, where we pop in for some refreshments. Our second horseshoe starts at St Cuthbert Church in the village of Kentmere. Heading down the road, we soon work our way onto Garden Pass. This is a long and winding pass which takes us gently up the fell side. We turn off right and start to make our way towards our first Wainwright of the day, Yoke. It's a steady incline from here. We soon reach Hill Bell, and then it's a descent and ascent until we reach Frosick. Another down and up meets us, but this time a lengthier up until we reach our turn point at Thornthwaite Crag. We turn to make the walk across the head of the valley. Soon we reach Mardale Earl Bell, and from our fifth Wainwright, it's a steeper descent and ascent which takes us to the gentler side of the horseshoe and Harter Fell. The rest of this horseshoe is a grassy slope as we work our way over to Kentmere Pike, and we can view the valley on the other side to see what we've already achieved. Further down we find Shipman Knots, which will be our eighth and final Wainwright for the day. From here, it's a steady walk down the fell side. We turn towards the village once more. This is one of the Lake District's longer horseshoes and absolutely essential for Wainwright baggers. I hope you enjoy it. Now let's see what it looks like on the trail. Starting at St Cuthbert's Church, there's limited parking but room for around 7 cars. Once we've worked our way down the path, we see the sign for Garden Pass, and then we make our way onto the trail. The path at this stage is stony and steady, and you can see the fells in the distance. The track up is fairly gentle, and on the day I did it, I was sharing it with mountain bikers. The track winds its way through the hillside. There is another track up the side here, but I wouldn't advise it because it is rougher and has some bogginess. So we take this track up, you can see the wood in the distance, and we'll work our way round to the right. As you can see, it's an easy path going up. The view up the valley takes in Hazewater, which is an artificial lake in the area caused by damming. We continue our way up, eventually reaching a large cairn, and in the distance we can see the summit of our first Wainwright of the day, Yoke. This gives us a good idea of what we're going to achieve today. We can see the view down to the head of the valley, and then the second half working its way down the other side, which completes our run round the Kentmere Reservoir. You can see here it's a fairly gentle descent. We work our way forward, and it's a descent and ascent to our second Wainwright of the day. This is Hill Bell, and it's a summit with 2 significant cairns, one to the south and one to the north. We tap both just to make sure we've got it, and then looking forward it's easy to see what we've got to do for the rest of the walk today. So I'll continue on down and up, and this is really a roller coaster ride around the top of the fells. Soon we're up to Frosick Pike, and this is our third Wainwright of the day. We get great views of the other half of the valley and back towards where we've just been. Ahead of us, we can see our next Wainwright, and although not strictly on the Kentmere Horseshoe, Grey Crag is only a few yards off, and its large summit pillar dominates the landscape. Once complete, we can see High Street in the distance, but we're staying on the head of the valley as we work our way across, with High Street on our left. This is a gentle walk across the top until we get to our next Wainwright, Mosedale Bell. There are great views out all the way around this ridge, and we continue round to our next section, which is the most tricky down and up of the whole circuit. To the side of us we can see small water, and we can take a look back to Mosedale Bell. So we'll work our way down the section until we reach the Col. Then at that point we'll work our way up to the top of our next fell. This is probably the trickiest section on the whole course, but it's not really technical and there's no scrambling involved. You can see here the path is steady and stable as we go down. There's a great view down, and you can just see there the path off. That path, if you've had enough at this point, will take you on a lower trajectory back to the village. But for us, we'll find our way to the midpoint and then work our way on our final ascent of the day. Although this ascent isn't very steep, at around about 100 metres, it is notable. Eventually, we find the messy cairn of Hartsop Fell, which is full of twisted metal. We work our way along the grassy slopes, having completed most of our ascent. There's plenty of wildlife around the area. Continuing along the top, amongst the sheep and ground nesting birds, we find our next point of interest, and it's slightly off the path, Kentmere Pike. Kentmere Pike and Shipman Knots both don't appear to be summits as such, and they can easily be walked past, so just keep your eye out for them. As you can see, the descent is steady and stable. It's essentially a field walk at this stage, and we work our way towards the wall. It's lambing season around the lakes when I did this video, and we just work our way over the stile and continue on our journey. Shipman Knots again is a very subtle top. It's very easy to walk past it, as I actually did here. From this point we continue on, eventually meeting the road. Some maps will tell you to go straight on across the next field, which is very boggy, so I do suggest you take the road for this final section. Once completed, a short drive away is the friendly pub of the Eagle and Child, where we can get some refreshments. Our next horseshoe starts in the car park just above the Lakeland village of Braithwaite. From here we work our way onto the fell side and soon can see Hospital Plantation on our right and the rest of the horseshoe on our left. As we work our way up, we take a steady climb to the highest point of the day, Grysdale Pike. It's a descent and an ascent again, and then we find our way onto Hopegale Head. Once summited, we turn back. I choose to go up Eel Crag, but you can go round the back. Either one goes to the summit of Crag Hill. It's just a short walk over to Sale before we go down the zigzag path and then turn off to the left to go on the lower sections. Our first one is outer side, then we work our way over to Stile End, then it's a short down and up to finish the walk on our last summit of Barrow. From here, it's a steady walk down into the village where we can get some refreshments. Now let's take a look at it in reality. From the car park, there's a clear sign to go up to Cordale Pike. We work our way up onto the track and soon find our way onto the fell side. Looking back, we can see over the range of Skiddaw, Dodds in the distance and Latrig. This is the Skiddaw range and I have another video on that if you wish to see it. Continuing on, we go through the gate and onto the fell. It's a steady walk up and you can see here it's a grassy path as we go towards our first Wainwright of the day, Cordale Pike. The trees at the side here are Hospital Plantation. As we get further up, the track is steady and you can see it's an easy path as we continue working our way up. I did this walk on Boxing Day, so these are the winter conditions. It was forecast to be slight rain. However, we did manage to catch a rainbow, but later on it suddenly snowed out of nowhere, which was not forecast at all. And it's worth always taking extra layers with you on a winter hike. Once we've summited Cordale Pike, we work our way down once again, and this is the trail, which is easy to follow, and we head down into the Col. This is the ridge down from Cordale Pike. It's a bright day and this fog only lasts a few minutes. The views down the valley as we head across are spectacular and add some real interest to the day as we work our way up to our second Wainwright. Hopegill Head is before us, so once we've completed the descent, we work our way onto it. On the side of Hopegill Head is Hobcarton Crag, and this is it from the drone. We work our way onto Hopegill Head and manage to summit it. Although the views out weren't quite with me on this day, it's still a great place to be, and we just about got a break in the clouds. Once complete, we start working our way back, and it's only a short distance over to Sand Hill. Sand Hill isn't the Wainwright, but it is on the route, so we bag it while it's here. But then the down from Sand Hill is a trickier section, and it's loose underfoot with the scree. You can see here, it's a rocky surface and covered in small stones. Trekking poles are definitely worth taking here. We can see some of the rest of the loop, and this is Crag Hill, working its way down to outer side. Once through the scree, we continue on down to the stream, and where we meet it, this is Coledale Horseshoe. If you feel like you've had enough at this stage, it's possible to follow the stream back down into the village, but for us, we'll work our way onto Eel Crag. It's very flat on top, and we soon get to the trig point, which offers spectacular views over the entire area. Once complete, we work our way down to Sale. This is a trickier path. It requires some hands. If you're doing it in winter conditions like me, then it's always useful to have gloves. You can see here, it is steep and a little bit tricky. We summit Sale. It has a very well-known zigzag path all the way down. Some people don't like it because it seems artificial, but it really helps to preserve the fell side. Otherwise, this would be really wet. We go down to the intersection in the middle and then head off towards the left. This will take us to a lower section. You can see ahead of us the plantation just at the side of outer side. Then we'll work our way up the face of it and onto the top. These are only small hills and we're quickly up outer side. You can see the village of Braithwaite in the distance, and that's our target as we head along this slower section. Descend again, we quickly complete Stile End, and then it's another short walk over to Barrow. At this point, we've got great views over the area and down to the lake, and this is our last Wainwright of the day before we head down to the village. Braithwaite village is below us, and it's an easy walk in. Overall, we'll claim 8 Wainwrights on this walk, so it's a great one to get to tick things off the list. To finish, we find ourselves at the Royal Oak, where we can find some refreshments. Our next horseshoe is probably the most famous and popular in the Lake District. It's the Fairfield Horseshoe. Heading up the lane, past Rydal Hall and Rydal Mount, we soon get onto the fell side and start our ascent winding our way up. We soon get to the top of our first Wainwright, Nab Scar. This walk has excellent views which continue to grow as we move up the fell side. We move on to Heron Pike, where we get fantastic views over Grasmere and its surrounding fells. Stone Arthur is another Wainwright and appears to our left, and it's possible to nip off route to get it. We summit our third Wainwright, Great Rig. We continue forward towards the head of the valley, and Fairfield comes to meet us as we claim our fourth Wainwright of the day. We can admire the views over to St Sunday Crag. We work our way down and up to Hart Crag, then it's another up and down to Dove Crag. From this point, it's a steady walk over to High Pike, with views over the far eastern fells and back down to Ambleside. We'll continue on down to Low Pike, and this will complete our collection of Wainwrights for the day. With our 8 Wainwrights, amble-sided ahead of us, and we continue to descend on a grassy run, we join a section of the coffin route, which takes us through the grounds of Rydal Hall to our finish point. This is Rydal Hall to the side, and further up we see Rydal Mount, which is the final home of William Wordsworth. Further up we take the public footpath and work our way around the building, through the gate and onto the fell side. If we continue up, you can see this easy conservation path, and then further up you get views down to Windermere. Out to the side we have views over Loughrig. In the distance we have the Coniston Range. There are 3 lakes on this view: Windermere, then close by we have Rydal Water, and then a bit further on we have Grasmere. We continue our way up to our first Wainwright of the day, Nabscar. On the way up we can see the other side of the valley. We'll walk down there later on Dove Crag, High Pike and Low Pike. It's not long till we come across Heron Pike and our second Wainwright of the day. This brings us into the run where we can see all the mountain tops that make up this horseshoe. It's a really clear day and we can see in front of us the whole range. We'll work our way towards the head of the valley and Fairfield. The view out to the side brings in the Langdale Valley and over to Crinkle Crags and Bowfell. In the distance we can see Scarfell Pike. You can see the path is stony and dry as we work our way forward, and this was a dry day for us, which is fantastic. Looking back you can see what we've done so far. Just out to the side here is Stone Arthur, which is another Wainwright in the area which you can claim. We're not going to do it today though. Eventually we get to Great Rig, and this is a fantastic top. We give it a tap and we claim it as our third Wainwright. Let's have a look at the top. Carrying on forward, we can see Helvellyn in the distance, and it's possible to access it from Dollywagon. We're nearing the end of the chain as we make our way towards Fairfield. There are a few sheep out as usual on the fell side, and if we look over we can see towards the southern and western fells with Scarfell, Great Gable and Pillar. The top of Fairfield is rocky and well worn by boots. This is a really popular route, and again we have Helvellyn in front. There are several features on top of the summit with many cairns and wind shelters. Out to the side we can see St Sunday Crag, which is another great walk in the area. We'll go to the head of the valley and take a look down. It's a steady track going across. We'll take it down and up, then we'll get to our next Wainwright. From there we'll complete the chain by working our way down. This descent's a little bit technical but easily manageable if you go steady. We're now on the other side of the valley and we give Hart Crag a tap. There are great views out to the side towards some other Wainwrights of Place Fell, Angletarn Pikes and Hartsop Dodd. Hartsop Dodd was on the first video we looked at, and again that's a great horseshoe nearby. We work our way forward and it's a gentle up until we get to the top of our next Wainwright, which is Dove Crag. You can see the views down to Windermere and Coniston to the side. We give it a tap and claim it as our next Wainwright. The views out are towards Yorkshire Dales, so we can see Ingleborough, Pendle Hill and Winter Hill. But for us, we'll just continue on straight. It's an easy walk for us as we work our way down, and it's a lovely day with a gentle breeze and really high cloud. And we work our way down to our next Wainwright, which is High Pike. Once there, we give it a tap and claim it as our seventh Wainwright. From here we head down. It won't be long until we get to the aptly named Low Pike, and all the way we have fantastic views. It's a bit of a climb to get up to Low Pike, but we're soon there and we give it a little tap. That's our final Wainwright for the day. We'll work our way down to near Ambleside. The path's relatively stable again, Ambleside's in the distance, and we'll work our way towards it. It's relatively steady, but a bit further on we get to our most technical point. It's Sweden Crag. It is possible to walk around it, so if you don't wish to go down this face, then that's fine. It's about 20 feet high. A little further down we get away from the stones and back to some vegetation. The ferns are out in force today because it's early summer. We can see Windermere in the distance, and we'll head down to the track. There's a beck at the side, and we're not going down that path over the bridge, we're just going forward. I'll show you it here because it's the bit where you might come off track. Ambleside's down that way, and here we're off towards Rydal. It's a short track down on the old Coffin route. Work our way through the woods, past the gate, and then we're onto the trail which will take us to Rydal Hall. Once in the grounds, you'll see yurts and tents because it is possible to stay here or even at the hall. There's a couple of notable features down here, one of which is the grot, which is a 17th century reading room. We exit the grounds again and we're back to our start point. This is a fantastic horseshoe and many people's favourite in the Lake District. But let's take a look at mine. Starting at Mosedale Head Car Park, we head round the back of the inn, then take a left onto the valley floor. With Mosedale back on our left and Kirkfell to our right, we work our way along to the base of Blacksail Pass. It's a steady ascent up, and this path is Wainwright's recommended way up Pillar. As we ascend, we get great views over the valleys, and soon we reach Pillar, which is our highest point of this walk. We head down to Wind Gap before we get to our next two Wainwrights, Scope Fell and Steeple. We then head back and travel over the field. Scope Tarn is to our right, and we soon reach our next Wainwright, Red Pike. From this point we work our way down to Yew Barrow. It's possible to go up the crags on the left or take this easier path on the right. And as we head down, we get wonderful views over Wastwater. Having completed all our Wainwrights for today, it's an easy walk along the shores of Wastwater. A little further down, we pass the campsite and then make our way to the car park or to the pub. From the car park, we head towards the inn and we can see Pillar behind. We'll go up the Blacksail Pass. As we approach the inn, we see Ritson's Bar. We make our way round the back, and with Kirkfell in front of us, we take this easy track to the left and work our way onto the fell. As we follow the wall along, we can see the path up to Blacksail, and then we'll go all around the tops until once again down at the pub. The track's clear all the way, and once onto Blacksail Pass, we can see it's steep but steady. At the top of the pass, we take the old fence line up to the tarn. In the distance we can see Ilgill Head and just the edge of Wastwater. It's possible to pop off to the side to take in the view from Luckingstead. From here we can see Wild Ennerdale and over to the Buttermere Fells, with the other Red Pike just in the distance. Some of this section is rocky, but it's not too technical and gives fantastic views down to the valley. In the distance here, you can see Scar Fell. We continue on up and get wonderful views over to Yew Barrow, just on the left. When we get to the top of Pillar, this will be our highest point of the day. This is the summit cairn and trig point, and there's 2 wind shelters here, which is good news, but we didn't need them on our day because the tops were clear and the wind was low. Let's have a look around the top. Just to the side is Pillar Rock, and this is reputed to be the home of rock climbing in the Lake District. Pillar Rock is described by Wainwright as the most handsome crag in all of Lakeland. From the summit of Pillar, we work our way down to Wind Gap and then over to Black Crag. This down is a little bit testing, but as we go down we can see our task for the rest of the day. This is Wind Gap, and it is fairly steep and caution is required. If you have sticks, it's a good idea to bring them. Once complete, we're on top of Black Crag. Black Crag isn't a Wainwright, but it's a notable top in the area, so we just claim it. We can see in the distance the views down to Endale Water. We carry on up to Scope Fell. Here's steeple in the distance, and it really lives up to its name, looking very much like a steeple. We work our way onto Scope Fell. It is fairly rocky and barren on the top. We head our way along the top, but from this point onwards, the walk has significantly less exertion on it. It is grazing land, and there are plenty of sheep around the area. There's some exposure off to the side, but it's not going to trouble us. We had really good clear conditions on this day, and it's always worth checking mountain forecast. Endale Water's here in the distance. We continue our way along to Steeple and eventually claim the summit. This is one of Wainwright's favourite summits, and he gives it special note in the back of the Western Fells book. It's not very big, but it's a true summit. As the name suggests, Steeple is quite pointy with a narrow top. Once we've claimed it, we start to head back a short distance until we get onto the open fell. The walk over to Red Pike is much more of a field walk. We can take in the views and go at a steady pace. Scope Town is out to the side. And eventually we get to the summit and claim Red Pike. We work our way forward towards Yew Barrow, and this is a continuous descent. Yew Barrow itself is relatively flat on top, and it can either be ascended on the crags to the left, which is what I did, or alternatively you can take the much gentler gradients of the traverse on its side. We continue our way down and eventually reach the base, and for me I'll take the climb up to the left. If you choose to climb, some hands are required, as it has 2 or 3 sections which are definite scrambles. The rest of it is just a very steep walk. The top of Yew Barrow is relatively flat and it's easy travelling. Once we approach the summit, this is coming towards the end of the day. We tap the top and claim our last Wainwright of the day before working our way along further, and at the end there's a notable cairn, and then we begin our descent. The way down is relatively steep, so caution again is required, but we can see before us we have Wastwater and some fantastic views down the valley. As the day closes, we're just getting the sunset starting to appear and the orange hues are in the sky. The second half of the descent is more steady as we work our way eventually into the woods and then down to the car park. So then it's just a steady road walk along the shores of Wastwater until eventually we reach the Mosedale head-in. This is a fantastic walk and I highly recommend it. It contains 2 of Wainwright's favourite tops, has a very steady ascent and amazing views as we travel around the tops. I hope you enjoy it, and if you do it, let me know how you found it, and if you'd put it as your top horseshoe in the Lake District. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, it helps me out if you click on the like or comment or subscribe, and if you do that, I'll see you on the next one.